Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So this is the TED OE presentations. So basically, all of us are just going to go up and give some kind of a TED Talk. So we've been working really hard on these for the last couple of months. We've actually said them so many times, we're actually sick of hearing them. So this is very glad that this is the last time we have to hear them, I hope. But, so if any of you need to go to the bathroom, there's no bathrooms in this building, unfortunately. You're going to have to go to the classroom building, which most of you know where that is. I know a lot of you have to transition to classes, things like that. If you have to, just please do it as quietly as possible. Try not to distract the performers. Anyway, enjoy yourself. These are some pretty great talks. Thank you.
I love hockey, and the reasons why I love hockey is because of the language. And the language is very fun if you know what it means. Like a bender. A bender is someone that skates around with their ankles like this because they don't tie their skates tight enough, and they're like, yeah. And they're really not that good. They're really bad. And a duster. A duster is someone that has really bad equipment and also isn't really good. And the sin bin. The sin bin is where you go when you get a penalty, like you see in the picture. And that's where you go for 2 minutes if you get a penalty. Like, I had a penalty one time, and it was a hooking penalty. And a hooking penalty is when you use the blade of your stick to wrap around someone's torso or underneath their armpit, anywhere to stop them from advancing up the ice. And I went to the box for 2 minutes. And when I got back to the bench, I was like, hey coach, why aren't you yelling at me? I just got a penalty. He was like, well, it was a good penalty because you stopped him from scoring. And there's other things that are really fun that I love about hockey, and that's about the refs. Because if you ever get mad at them, you can secretly get back at them. And it's really fun. Like a dump and change. Or in the video, it shows a dump and chase, but a dump and change is when it's the same thing, but you get off the ice and new players come on. And see the ref right there? Just imagine if I shot it right at him. And I did that because I was really mad at him, and it was great. And sometimes if you ever get hurt and you need that extra boost to get you back on the ice, and you use adrenaline rush, and it's great. It feels really good. And one time I hurt my knee in a game, and my team scored, and that energy from my team and from everyone in the stands really got to me, so I was able to go back out on the ice and skate around and play hockey. And that's why I love hockey.
Thank you.
I am a competitive water skier. I'm number 1 in Maine, number 3 in Massachusetts, number 7 in New England, and 54th in the United States. I'm a slalom water skier. So, to understand what I do, you'll need to have some background knowledge. So I pull out, and I go through the gates, which are the 2 first ones with no red buoy. I go through and around, weaving in between each 6 with the boat going through. So, it's very hard. The next, how you get points is by if you go around the most buoys. So the better you get, the faster speed you are. I ski at 36 miles an hour, which is the cap, the fastest speed you can go. And once you hit that, they start shortening the rope length. As the rope gets shorter, it gets harder and harder. I ski 15 feet off. The pros ski at 41 to 43 feet off. So, imagine, you're a 16-year-old boy sitting behind a boat with a professional Swiss water skiing coach yelling at you, "Jean, you're skiing like your little sister. You need to pull!" So, I'm like, okay. So, I get out there and I do it. I get a nice one ball. I'm pulling the second leg, I mess up. Bad. Tip of my ski went in. I had a compression fracture on my T5 vertebrae, which is right here. I spent the rest of the day in the hospital, and it's very bad. Very bad. I missed 4 weeks of all athletics. I had to sit on the couch, bored out of my mind, not enjoying it. But from this, I learned that there's two kinds of fear. Fear of failure and survival fear. Survival fear is a fear that keeps you from looking down the barrel of a gun or jumping off a bridge. This is a rational fear that everyone should listen to inside themselves. Then there's the fear of failure. This fear I had a big problem with until recently. I was afraid to go into a Dunkin' Donuts to get my coffee because I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to say the wrong thing, not have enough money, not have too much, not have exact change. I was very nervous of that. So, fear of failure is very irrational. You shouldn't be afraid to fail. Thank you.
So imagine you're walking and all you hear behind you is your little cousin saying, "If I don't make it, tell my parents I love them and my little brother too." That's the moment I realized my father got us lost, like usual. And now I look back at what my cousin's saying, thinking, if you didn't make it, there's a likelihood the rest of the family was not going to make it. There's 4 of us hiking out on Mount Washington. We just left the hut we were staying at, the Madison hut. We were on our way to Lake Cloud. And we started out, it was totally fine. And it was just kind of cloudy, nothing big. And then it just started to downpour rain out of the middle of nowhere. And then the wind picked up to maybe 70 miles an hour. We keep going, and at one point, my dad, my cousin, my dad's godson and I are hiding behind a rock that one person could fit behind because of the wind. And I remember my father saying, "Oh, it's around the next corner. We keep going. We're not there yet." 2 more corners, we're still not there. And finally, you can kind of see the outline of the hut. And I know we're close. So he sends his godson to go ahead and go in. And on his way, he trips and falls. Totally normal for him. And as he bursts through the door, he screams, "Help, my family's lost. They're somewhere on the mountain." Which we weren't. We were just a few feet behind him. We walked in, and the whole hut went silent and looked directly at us. They're about to send out their search and rescue team to come find us, which they didn't really need to. But the first thing they gave us, they didn't even ask if we were okay or anything, they gave us a drink. You wouldn't usually think about it, but they gave us Gatorade, but it wasn't cold, it was warm. It may sound gross, but it actually wasn't. This all reminded me of the time where I was in my public school. And my teacher, one day, handed me my textbook and said, "Here, read this," and just left. She never came back. I'm like, how will this help me? And I'm like, it's not going to. So I remember going home to my mom and saying, Miss So-and-so gave me the textbook and told me to read it, and she never came back. Mom's like, how will that help you? I'm like, I don't know. I asked myself the same thing. The next day, my mom called the school and emailed them, like, how is helping my daughter by giving her a textbook to read? Shouldn't she be working on something that she actually needs help with? And they're like, oh, it's going to help her in the class. And we're like, that doesn't matter to us. But from both my experience, I learned that it's okay to be nervous and even panic at those times, because you'll either learn.
So I she'll be talking about basketball and how in basketball, the choices that I make sort of revolve around each other and create a type of balance. So when I'm at the courts with a group of friends, I don't normally pick who I've known longer or who I've been friends with or have a stronger connection with. I pick their main skill, like how good they are at shooting, dribbling, rebounding, blocking, and transition. And each of those picks gives the game a balance and makes it move more fluently. So like passing. You need a great passer to get the ball around, to move it to player, and get it to the open man, like here. The point guard gets it to the open man to get a wide open dunk. Or like here, it's also better to pass than to just dribble up because it gets the ball, it goes quicker. It also is great for having in a clutch moment or just getting people amazed or pumped up like there when you did it behind the back. Another thing is shooting. You need a great shooter to score. Like here, Steph Curry against the New York Knicks scored 54 points on his own. He was this year's MVP, and he's probably one of the top shooters in the NBA today. Another thing that you would need to have great movement in the game would be dribbling. You need a good dribbler to bring the ball up. If you don't have a great dribbler, then you can't move on to offense. Like here, point guard making his defender look foolish, jumping out of his own shoes. It's just amazing how he can move the ball around, and the defender just doesn't know what's going on right now. He clearly doesn't know how to defend. And transition, you need to be good at transition for both sides, defense and offense. And it also works with dribbling and passing, because if you have neither of those, then you can't move on to transition. Like here, how he steals the ball, dribbles it up, and then passes it behind the back to his teammate to get the open dunk. Or here, passing the ball up because the ball moves faster than you can dribble. And on the defensive side, I pick someone who would be good at blocking. Like here, Jameel McGee comes out of nowhere and blocks the dude who thinks he has a wide open layup, just ruining his life. Or here, this dude thinks he has a wide open dunk, but that dude just ruined his career. He should retire, call it a day. Also stealing. Stealing's good in case if you're in clutch moments, like here. There's only 2 seconds left, and this guy steals the ball, dribbles in, gets a buzzer beater layup, get his team pumped up for the next quarter. Or here, Dwayne Wade stealing the ball, having great transition and passing to get LeBron James the wide open dunk. Or even here, Chris Paul steals the ball, pushes the ball up, passes it to his teammate, who then passes it to the other teammate and gets the game-winning shot. So what I'm trying to get at is to sort of balance out the choices that you'll have to make and just really think of it. Like for an example, if you were to go to a 2-year or a 4-year college, if you were to just study all the time, even though it'd be good to study because you want to pass, but you could lose connection with your friends and family and not really know what's going on and not know how to communicate with them. Thank you.
Alright, I have epilepsy. Epilepsy causes seizures. My mind goes blank, sometimes for 15 seconds, sometimes for 30, sometimes even a minute. After I come back from my seizure, I feel confused, and about 10 to 15 minutes later, I feel extremely tired. For example, one day I was in math class, and I asked my teacher, Mr. Grimm, if I could go to the bathroom. He said yes, so I went to the bathroom, I washed my hands, and I went back to class. After class, I was walking up the hill. It was 8th period, end of the day. I was walking up the hill, and Zach Renedetti, he was in the bathroom when I had a seizure. So he went up to me and he informed me that I had a seizure and that was the reason that I was feeling extremely tired. So I was kind of bummed out at that point because legally you have to go, if you're epileptic, you have to go 9 months without having a seizure to be able to start your driver's ed. So say you go 8 months and there's one day to the 9th month and you have a seizure, you gotta start all over again. So I was about, I think 4 or 5 months in when I had it. So I went back to my room, I fell asleep, and when I woke up, I was still feeling pretty mad at the fact that I had epilepsy and mad at this whole situation. Then I realized that it is not appropriate for me to feel bad for myself because epilepsy is part of me and I've had it since as long as I can remember, and it's a part of me. And then I thought that other people might be struggling with other things. Say someone could be struggling with family member has cancer, or someone in their family just passed away, or even maybe money issues. So say a teacher snaps at me in class. Then I realize that something is going on in their life and I have to respect that. And if they ask for help, then I should help them, or even it could be a student or a friend. So what I'm trying to get at is that I used to think that I was different from everyone because I had this weird problem, epilepsy, but eventually I realized that I'm like everyone else, that epilepsy is a small little part of me. Sure, it's affected my life. For example, when I go skiing, I have to clip into the chairlift so that I don't fall out and kill myself if I have a seizure. Or the driving, I may not be able to drive. It's not a big deal. Gets kind of annoying at sometimes, but whatever. Or I also wanted to eventually I wanted to go to college and be on the police force, but unless I grow out of my epilepsy, which is a possibility, and learn how to drive, I cannot be a police officer. So all those things, they're kind of an inconvenience, but besides that, I'm no different than anyone else. Thank you.
This story makes me laugh whenever I tell it. Diamond encrusted nail file and a boatload of pain meds. At the time, that's all I needed. Not because I'm a druggie, I swear I'm not, but because I had an idea. Now, the origin of this idea came to me while I was watching this movie, Dracula Untold. This movie is all about Vlad the Impaler and how he got his infamous name of Dracula, how he used to suck blood and all of that. Towards the end of the movie, I had a great idea. I had an idea that I would sharpen my teeth to look like fangs, so I could kind of be a vampire. So, I did what any teenager would. I looked it up. I Googled it. Wanted to see if it was even possible. To my surprise, all you needed was a diamond-encrusted nail file and a boatload of pain meds. So, after I Googled it, I decided that I'd call a couple friends to get their opinion and to just overall see their reaction. Thought it'd be funny. So the first person on this roster that I called was a very good friend of mine, Jake Skiffington. He then, when I told him, the first thing he said to me is that if I want to look like a bad version of Edward Cullen from the Twilight series, go for it. I laughed, and I swallowed that one down. I was like, all right, harsh, but okay. I moved on to the next person that I called, which was my roommate, Ace Steiner, another very close friend of mine. To my surprise, he was also with Kat, his girlfriend. So I got another piece of feedback that I wasn't quite expecting. They both, what seemed simultaneously, said to me that they will never talk to me ever again. I will never get a girlfriend ever again in my whole entire life unless I fix my teeth. And also, just probably no one would talk to me. So I decided that wasn't quite worth it. Now, the reason why I start off with this story is to show you that I trust my friends. I trust my friends' better judgment over than my own judgment. Now, the reason why I trust my friends, it's not like I gained this trust over a night or just a day of knowing them. I gained this over life experiences in the years that I've known them. I've gone through my whole life watching not only friends, but family make poor decisions that tore their life apart, that made them just fall. They didn't take the time to listen to family, they didn't ask for help. All they did is just say, what I know is best. Sometimes that isn't the greatest idea. So to get to my moral, trust is key. The reason why I say that is because you're never going to get as far as you are able to unless you not only get help from others, but you help yourself in retrieving help. Thank you.
Gaming is good. Yeah. So a lot of people can, really disagree with me on that. Some people can say, no, gaming is not good. It pre-exposes minds to violence. It can drive people to do violent things. It poisons the minds of the innocent. So out of all of you, who agrees with that? Be honest. All right. Thank you for your honesty. Now, some people can disagree with that, saying, no, gaming is good. It works with, fine motor skills, making quick decisions, it's a healthy distraction. Out of all of you, who agrees with that? Good. So, I do agree with that, but I think that gaming is good for another reason. I've been gaming for a really long time in my life, and I've enjoyed every second of it. And so I've almost had really important life lessons reinforced from gaming. For instance, in the game Destiny, for any of you who played it, I remember I was running through this temple or cave thing, right? And I was so hyped to fight this boss, Fogoth the Untamed. And it was a strike mission, which requires 3 people, but the people that I started with, they left. And I remember I I was running through this cave, I was so hyped, I'm triple checking my ammo, I kick down the doors, and I stare at this thing, it breaks the chains that were holding it down, and it roars at me. I freak out and duck behind a rock and scream like a little girl. And in my fit of fear, I thought to myself, I can't do this alone. That's the thing. You can't do everything alone. Not just in gaming, but in life itself. If you're going through some kind of emotional problem, or if you're getting harassed, or if anything, you can't do it alone. For instance, this, I couldn't do it alone. But, I mean, not doing everything alone, it's kind of a dead giveaway for gaming. But what about trust? Trust is a fragile thing. Some people have too much, some people have too little. I remember in the game, BioShock Infinite, you play as the protagonist, Booker DeWitt, and you have to rescue this girl from a tower. And this girl has only spoken to about 2 people. Her father, crazy psycho-religious guy that rules over a town that floats in the air. Second, a giant mechanical bird that stops people from breaking in. So, once you break her out, and, you guys start living together, you don't even really know each other's first names, but she puts her life into your hands, and there's so much chaos throughout this game, and so many intense things, and you're probably thinking, this is just some damsel in distress. No, you two keep each other alive. You broke her out of that tower, she gives you help and ammo. She's not a damsel in distress, she's more of the damn best wingman to ever wear a dress. But, see, out of all when the combat really died down and you could, find out the story between these 2 characters, there was trust in them. You didn't even really know each other for 24 hours, and you put each other's life in your hands, and you're almost starting a life together. These characters, I mean, yeah, they're fake, but you can really see the trust in them. And I really, from that, learned, trust is important. Okay, I'm about to say something that's probably going to make a good majority of you mad. Are you ready? I have learned more from gaming than I have from books. So before you start throwing the tomatoes at me, let me explain. So, for instance, trust in BioShock Infinite. I read the book, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. For any of you who have read that, trust is really incorporated in that. So, yeah, trust is incorporated, but it seriously just went right over my head. Didn't even recognize it. But, this could just be because I have a language-based learning disability, and reading has never really been my thing. I've never really enjoyed it. I've been frustrated with it my entire life. And so, in a way, reading about a boy that brings another boy food that's in a concentration camp, yeah, trust is incorporated in that, and I can really see it, and, the deeper meaning. I enjoyed the book, kind of, because, reading is my thing. But the story was very well. But, that versus, you're really caught up in the moment, your blood's pumping, you're gripping your controller so hard that your fingers are going numb. That, really incorporated trust for me. So, I could end this with, some dumb fortune cookie quote like, broken clock is right twice a day, or, never judge a book by its cover, or, there is no try, only do or do not. That was from Yoda. But, if you got a hobby and you really enjoy it, you can pull more things away from it. Not just entertainment, but life lessons. And it's really important that you look into the deeper meaning of things, and that you really focus on them and pull things away. So really do what you love. Thank you. So everybody, this is just the Q&A. If you have any kind of questions about, our talks, then, feel free to ask them. And, the lights is turned on so then we can actually see you. Mr. Free.
How did you arrive at your topics?
Yeah, okay. I mean, well, for us, we're kind of forced to do it, because it was required for the class, but yes.
Yeah, mine's on.
All of our mics are.
Yeah, come on.
All right, there you go, Chamber. I mean, well, for all of us, we were forced into it, but in the class, we watch TED-Talks like all the time, so we really, got to learn, the meaning of the TED-Talks, and, they're about deeper, more important things. So we thought, what's deeper and more important? And we, thought of things that we could actually talk about. Jack, elaborate?
No. I mean, squids. You got squid.
Oh yeah, the squid.
Can't forget the squid.
Yeah, the squid is, it's by pulling out the deeper meaning or the moral. So whenever we were talking and we couldn't get to the deeper moral, the stories would do this.
Yeah.
And that meant pull out.
That meant pull out the deeper meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah. Mr. Grimm.
Is this, for some of you guys, is this your first time doing a presentation in front of this big of a group?
For me, yeah, it was. I've never done. I was nervous. I saw all these people. I'm like, oh, this is a lot more people than I thought it would be.
For me, I mean, I've done, plays before, so I'm not really nervous about getting up in front of people. But it's the first time I've actually given a presentation about something that was passionate to me.
For me, not as much. I done this plenty of times before. Anyone else like to talk? Mr. Talbot?
Did you guys have a specific script that you were working off of, or was there a...
Oh, not at all.
No.
No.
It's different every time.
Yeah, it was a little bit of different thing.
Very few of us had notes.
Yeah.
They're like, I think me, Jake, and Brennan didn't even have notes up on the screen.
Yeah,
Like
literally-
for Jake it says, you're on your own. For me it says, you're on your own. And for Brennan it says, you're on your own.
We're on our own.
Good luck.
Any other questions? Mom?
I love it.
We watch so many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
fish
this-
one. The one with the octopus and like
Yeah,
put it in.
I like the
Yeah,
train
yeah,
one.
yeah, that was good.
Oh, yeah.
The train one.
Oh,
Yeah,
the train
train
one.
one.
The
That's
train
right.
one.
John likes trains.
There's
Yeah.
this train one that it was just a 3-day long video of a train going through Berlin. It was Berlin, right? Where was it? It was
It was Norway.
Norway. Going through Norway, just the scenery and having the slow train go by. It's one of the. It was so weird because
It was like
it's something that's so boring.
yeah,
but
it was mesmerizing.
you could just watch it for. I understand why people watch it for days.
It's just because it was funny because
Like people wouldn't go to work just to watch it.
Melissa.
Yeah.
We've said it so many times, it's almost like
Yeah.
I can say it in my sleep because we've said it so many times.
Do you want to hear them again?
No.
No. I mean, there was some notes up there for someone. So some people I had a couple, but I didn't really check my notes the whole time. I just did it from memory pretty much, and they change every time they do it. So.
Yeah.
How do you guys know how to pace yourselves? Like when to take breaks or what parts to
Yeah, we just practiced a ton, and Chamberlain gave us some tips.
And Miss Torres.
And Miss Torres, sorry.
Don't forget about her.
And it's
Sorry,
one
Miss
of those
Torres.
things where you're going through the middle of it, and then it's just one of those pieces like it feels right to do it then.
You guys thinking about the message you want people to walk away with? Do you feel like you thought of something that you already lived by, and then told a story about it? Or did you think of the story and then figure out what your message was?
It was a little both for most of us.
Yeah, I think mine just all kind of just came together.
I started with just by wanting to make a funny TED Talk, and then mine turned into a deep emotional one, so just goes wherever. Great.
Were you surprised at how much you knew?
Yeah, a little bit. I was surprised with myself, and I was surprised with everybody else around me. Because I remember in the beginning of the year when we were giving like practice presentations about anything, that these people were in such a shell, and then now seeing all of them get up in front of these big groups of people, it's amazing.
I think Chamberlain and Torres are more surprised than we are.
Yeah.
To be quite honest. Yeah, see, Chamberlain.
Yep, Chambo.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Brennan, for Brennan.
Oh, there you go, Brennan.
How often do you get together for your street ball?
Probably like 5 times a week. Yeah, we're probably there about like 5 to 6 hours.
Each time you play?
Yeah, it's rough.
Can you dunk?
What?
Can you dunk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have a question for Brennan too.
Oh, come on.
Well, how you said at the beginning how you have to kind of set aside like the friendship aspect and pick people based on their skills. Like, have you had to have that talk with your friends? Like, listen, it's nothing personal. Just he's a better passer than you.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
I just have a comment for the group. You just were so sincere and so genuine and really held us mesmerized about what your messages were. So congratulations.
Thanks for coming.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The story makes me laugh whenever I tell it. Diamond encrusted nail file and a boatload of pain meds. At the time, that's all I needed. Not because I'm a druggie, I swear I'm not. But because I had an idea. Now the origin of this idea came to me while I was watching this movie, Dracula Untold. This movie is all about Vlad the Impaler and how he got his infamous name of Dracula, how he used to suck blood and all of that. Towards the end of the movie, I had a great idea. I had an idea that I would sharpen my teeth to look like fangs, so I could kind of be a vampire. So, I did what any teenager would. I looked it up. I Googled it. Wanted to see if it was even possible. To my surprise, all you needed was a diamond-encrusted nail file and a boatload of pain meds. So, after I Googled it, I decided that I'd call a couple friends to get their opinion and to just overall see their reaction. Thought it'd be funny. So the first person on this roster that I called was a very good friend of mine, Jake Skiffington. He then, when I told him, the first thing he said to me is that if I want to look like a bad version of Edward Cullen from the Twilight series, go for it. I laughed, and I swallowed that one down. I was like, all right, harsh, but okay. I moved on to the next person that I called, which was my roommate, Ace Steiner, another very close friend of mine. To my surprise, he was also with Kat, his girlfriend. So I got another piece of feedback that I wasn't quite expecting. They both, what seemed simultaneously, said to me that they will never talk to me ever again. I will never get a girlfriend ever again in my whole entire life unless I fix my teeth. And also, just probably no one would talk to me. So I decided that wasn't quite worth it. Now, the reason why I start off with this story is to show you that I trust my friends. I trust my friends' better judgment over than my own judgment. Now, the reason why I trust my friends, it's not like I gained this trust over a night or just a day of knowing them. I gained this over life experiences in the years that I've known them. I've gone through my whole life watching not only friends, but family make poor decisions that tore their life apart, that made them just fall. They didn't take the time to listen to family, they didn't ask for help. All they did is just say, what I know is best. Sometimes that isn't the greatest idea. So to get to my moral, trust is key. The reason why I say that is because you're never going to get as far as you are able to unless you not only get help from others, but you help yourself in retrieving help. Thank you.